In the year 2147, humanity had mastered the art of time manipulation. Time travel was no longer a fantasy, it had become a reality. With the invention of the chronogate, a machine that could open rifts in the space-time continuum, mankind had begun exploring the past, the present, and even the far future. However, no one could have predicted the consequences of tampering with time. Dr. Alana Pierce was one of the leading scientists at the Temporal Research Institute. She had dedicated her entire career to unraveling the mysteries of time travel. The chronogate, which she had worked tirelessly on, was her life's work. It had taken years of research, countless trials, and the collaboration of the brightest minds to perfect it. Yet, despite their success, Alana couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was wrong. Something about time travel didn't sit right with her. One day, as she was working late in her lab, Alana received an unexpected message from a mysterious source. The message was brief and cryptic. The chronogate must be shut down, or time itself will break. The sender's identity was unknown, and there was no trace of the message's origin. She hesitated for a moment, but then the logical side of her mind took over. It was just a hoax, she thought. Alana pushed the message aside and continued with her work. She was on the verge of a breakthrough, or so she thought. The chronogate had been tested numerous times on small objects, but this time Alana planned to send a human subject through. The test was to be a major step in proving that time travel was safe. She selected her assistant, Leo, who had been working with her for years. Leo was eager to be the first person to experience time travel firsthand. The day of the test arrived. The laboratory was bustling with energy, and the atmosphere was filled with excitement and anxiety. Alana stood beside the chronogate, her heart pounding in her chest. She had run the calculations 1,000 times and double-checked the safety protocols. Everything was ready. Leo stepped into the machine, his eyes wide with anticipation. With a press of a button, the chronogate hummed to life. The machine began to glow with an eerie, otherworldly light. A rift in time opened before them, and Leo stepped through. Alana watched in awe as her assistant disappeared into the vortex. But then something went wrong. The rift began to destabilize. A loud, thunderous crash filled the room, and the chronogate sparked violently. Alana's heart raced as she scrambled to shut down the machine. Just as she activated the shutdown sequence, the rift collapsed. A deafening silence followed. The lights in the lab flickered, and the monitors went dark. For a moment, Alana thought she had failed. Then, to her relief, the lights flickered back on, and the monitors came to life again. But there was no sign of Leo. The room was empty. Alana's mind raced as she tried to make sense of what had happened. She reviewed the data logs, but they were corrupted. It was as if Leo had never existed. The chronogate had created a paradox, erasing Leo from existence. Time itself had been altered, and there was no telling what the consequences would be. Days passed, and Alana became obsessed with finding a way to fix the damage. She delved deeper into the chronogate's code, analyzing every line of programming. The more she worked, the more she realized that time travel wasn't just a scientific breakthrough, it was a dangerous power. Every change, no matter how small, rippled through time, creating new realities and erasing old ones. The timeline was delicate, and tampering with it could unravel everything. Desperate to fix the paradox she had created, Alana began experimenting with the chronogate again. She traveled to the past, to the very moment before Leo had stepped into the machine. She hoped to prevent the error from happening, but when she arrived, she discovered something shocking. The past had already changed. There was no longer a Leo in the timeline. Instead, another version of him, one who had never worked at the Institute, had taken his place. It was as if he had never been part of the project at all. Alana was left in a state of disbelief. She had altered the fabric of reality, and in doing so she had created multiple versions of Leo, each one living in a different timeline. The paradox had spiraled out of control, and now there were countless alternate realities existing side by side. Determined to fix her mistake, Alana made one final decision. She would have to destroy the chronogate. But as she prepared to deactivate the machine once and for all, a strange sensation washed over her. She began to question whether destroying the chronogate would really solve the problem. If she erased the machine, would she erase herself as well? What if the chronogate was the key to saving not just her timeline, but all of reality? Alana knew that the only way to truly fix the paradox was to make a sacrifice. She had to let go of her obsession with controlling time and allow the timeline to stabilize on its own. With a heavy heart, she shut down the chronogate for the final time. As the machine powered down, the rifts in time began to close, and the fabric of reality slowly began to heal. In the end, Alana learned the most important lesson of all. Time was not something to be controlled. It was something to be respected. The consequences of tampering with time were far-reaching and unpredictable, and no matter how advanced humanity became, there would always be forces beyond their control. Alana returned to her life at the Temporal Research Institute, but she was a changed person. She no longer sought to manipulate time for personal gain. Instead, she focused on understanding the natural flow of time and working within its boundaries. She knew that time, like all things, was a force that could not be bent or broken. It was a force that demanded respect. And so Alana lived her life, not as a scientist bent on conquering time, but as a humble observer, content with the knowledge that some mysteries were best left unsolved.